everybody. Welcome to our latest edition of Science Bytes. I am Miss Nicole, Bloomfield Public Library, and today we are going to talk about something that is not often the star of our show, but tends to be a supporting cast member in a lot of our other science projects. And I thought it was about time that this force became the hero of the day. So today we're going to talk about friction. But before we even get into our project, we always talk about the science behind the project first. So what exactly is friction? I think most of us kind of know what friction is, but it's hard when you try and talk about it and put it into words. So basically, friction is a force that wants to stop slipping and sliding. We see friction all around us in our world. Many of you probably have a bike at home. And if you're riding your bike, there is friction between your tires and the road, which prevent the tires from just slipping. The friction is actually so good that it helps propel your bike forward. Another example of friction is, and this is actually perfect because we're in the middle of winter time right now. And even though we haven't had a lot of chilly days, there have been a few that were a little chilly. And what is something we like to do in the winter time? We like to rub our hands together like this. And if everybody does this with me right now for just a couple of seconds and you press your hands against your face, you're going to feel some warmth. And that's because we've created some heat by making friction between our two hands. Now you might be saying, Miss Nicole, friction between our hands? How did we create friction with our hands? They seem smooth. But if you use the magnifying glass I provided in your kits, or if you have something at home that will help you see something a little closer. If you look very closely at your hands, you are going to see a lot of fine lines and ridges from your fingerprints for things on your palm. And all of those little grooves and lines are helping to create little catches that create the friction. Now our project today, like I said, is a very simple artsy craftsy one. It's fun because you can customize it however you want. Here's an example of one that I made, and I'll give you a peek at the back and I'll explain how we're gonna do that. We will need just a few simple items to make our project today. I'm going to give everybody in your kits a few templates to choose from. There's a ladybug, a butterfly, and actually this critter, and you can make him whatever you want. I turned mine into a spider, but you do not have to use those. You could use the backs and make your own creatures if you want to design your own. So you've got this nice cardstock paper. But if you're really loving the project and you want to keep doing stuff, a good alternative to cardstock paper at home is an old cereal box. Pull that cereal box out of the recycling bin. That cardboard is nice and thin and very easy to cut with scissors. So it's a good way to have an alternative to something like cardstock paper if you want to keep making more and more of these projects. But we've got our template. Everybody needs some yarn. I'm going to give everybody some yarn. We need some beads. You don't have, actually, this is really optional. You don't have to have the beads. It's a nice touch so that your yarn doesn't accidentally slip back through your straw in your project, but that's okay. I'll give you some beads just in case you want to use them. Some regular old drinking straws, just the standard drinking straw. It can be bendy, it can be not bendy, doesn't matter. We're gonna cut it up. And you need a penny for each creature you create, and I will even give you the pennies. So don't worry about it. You will get the pennies. And last but not least, we need scissors and tape. And then, of course, whatever things you want to use to decorate your project. I had a lot of markers downstairs. You might have some fun sparkly tape or stickers. I will include a few extra items in your bag to try and help you decorate. And you can use them or not use them. It's up to you. But now we've got all our pieces. So now we're going to do our very simple project, put it together, and I will show it in action and explain a little about how it's working. Now you can see here that I've actually decorated my little creatures. I've got a butterfly that I made. I have my ladybug, and I made this jazzy spider with his wiggly legs. If any of you have never made those kind of legs before, all I did was cut strips of paper and fold it back and forth. You can kind of see how I went back and forth. And then if you press it together and release it, it becomes a nice little springy leg. But I think the one I'm actually going to demonstrate on is my butterfly, just because the legs are a little jazzy and I'll keep them out of the way. So here's my butterfly. What I'm going to do is flip him so that I'm looking at his back. I'm going to take my penny and I want to glue him or tape him kind of low on my project. So I'm going to do it about there. I don't want the penny to be visible. I'm going to tape the penny right here just with some Scotch tape. And the reason we're doing this is to give a little weight to our project. And this is going to help demonstrate how friction is actually at work. Now I'm going to modify my straw. So I actually have a straw that's bendy, has a bendy end. We're going to ignore that. We don't want to deal with the bendy part. We're going to cut 2 pieces of straw. And the beauty of friction is it wants to work regardless of how precise we are. So I'm going to estimate. I'm going to say a couple inches, maybe 2 finger joints worth. That's about as long as I'm going to make my straw. So I'm going to make my cut. And now I'm just going to make sure that I cut a similar sized piece. If it's not exact, that's okay. Try and get it as close as possible. Perfect. Now I have my 2 straw pieces. Ultimately, what we're going to do is tape our 2 straw pieces in a V like this, with just a little room in between at the top. But before we do that, it's actually easier to thread our yarn through the straws before we tape them, because you can see how tight they are at the top. It's going to be hard to thread that through. So I'm going to look for the end of my yarn. Whoops. Got my 2 ends. And I'm going to take 1 straw and I'm going to feed it through. And just push it through. It should go, because the straw is a short straw, it should go through pretty seamlessly. And now I'm going to get the other end, find my other end of yarn, and here's my other end. And if you have an end of yarn that's a little frayed, sometimes you can just twist it a little, and that'll tighten it up again. And now I'm going to push that through my straw. Oops. I see it coming out. There we go. All right, and now, this is what I find the easiest way to do this. I'm going to get my 2 ends of yarn again. So here's one, and here's the other. And I'm just going to put them together and move the straws down the line so that we know that the yarn is about evenly spread. So now, if I look here, I can see, and if I go to the very end, you'll see that my yarn is pretty even right now. Now that our yarn is threaded through our straws, we just need to secure it behind our project. We don't need it to be a super tight V. We just need to make sure that they're angled a little bit towards the center, kind of like that. So I'm going to get my tape. I'm going to go with my pusheen tape again. Just regular Scotch tape in a pusheen holder. And we're just going to secure it in place. It does not need to be pinched. You want to make sure that the yarn can still move through. I'm going to put that just gently on top there. And now you can see if we tug that that's moving back and forth. And actually, I'm going to change the position of this one. That's the beauty of cardstock, is it's pretty easy to pull up the tape. I want it to be about the same angle. So let's see. We're going to make it more like that. There we go. There we go. Just like that. Now here is why I've included some beads. Some projects suggest you use them, some don't. The reason we have beads is so that as you're playing with your project, the yarn doesn't accidentally get tugged all the way out of the straw piece, and then you'd have to thread it back through. If you put some of these baubles on the end, it's going to prevent the yarn from going through because the bauble doesn't fit through the straw. Do a little tie and knot it in place. And I'm going to do one on each end of the yarn. So here's my other yarn end. And this time I've just got this heart. And I'm going to just pop it through and tie it. And again, the whole purpose of these baubles, doesn't matter that they're different weights. We're really just using them so that the yarn doesn't accidentally get tugged back through. And I'll show you. Here we go. If I were going to tug it, oops, if I tug it and tug it, here comes my pig. See, now my yarn won't accidentally go back through the straw. And it gives me a chance to line up the ends again and to slowly pull the yarn through. Whoops, I've got a blob there. And get it ready to go for my next use. And that is our completed project. Now, some people will actually either tie on an extra loop at the top to create sort of a permanent way to hang it on something, or they just knot the actual yarn here and create a permanent little loop. I don't like to bother with that. I like that it's flexible, and I think with the beads at the bottom, we prevent it from having the yarn pull out. So this is our whole project. So what we're going to do now is we are going to just pull the yarn up from the center a little bit and hang it on something. It might be a doorknob. It might be a knob on a kitchen cabinet. Or in my case, I actually put a push pin in the wall, and that's plenty wide enough and big enough for our project. And these aren't very heavy, even with the penny. So a push pin in the wall would also work. Or if you have a cork board at home where you put memos, that would work too. And so now let me demonstrate how this is going to work. Now here is our butterfly. And you can see it drops down pretty quickly if I let go of things because of that penny, that added weight, and it just slides right back down. But what we are going to do is tug. Whoops, I'll hang that back up in a second. We are going to tug on each of the yarn strings one at a time. So left, right, and we're going to do it just straight up and down. We're not going to tug it to the side. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're just going to go straight up and down. And let me hang this back up. I'm going to push my butterfly towards the bottom. And now, let me get it back into the picture so you guys can see it. There we go. Now if I start tugging, I'm going to start with what is my right, and I just go up and down. You can see that butterfly climbing up, and that's because of the friction between the yarn and the straws. We're pinching the yarn against the straws. The yarn has texture, and so it's creating sort of a grabbing action that slows down the slipping and sliding. If I release, the butterfly drops. If I tug, it goes back up. And that, my friends, is our full project today. Simple, right? You would be surprised at how many times you will see friction in the world around you. Anytime something's in motion and it slowly comes to a stop, that's our friend friction. So play around with these projects. You can, if you want to be very scientific about it, test out different materials. Try using regular paper instead of cardstock. Try using a quarter instead of a penny. Try using a thicker yarn and a thinner yarn, and maybe even just some regular thread and string. Test out all those different variables and see which works better and come up with what you think is a reason for that. My hypothesis is that if you used thread instead of yarn, that it would probably still work, but it wouldn't go up as quickly because it wouldn't have that same grabbing textured action that we get from the yarn. So my guess is it would still work, but your butterfly might move up slower instead of in big steps like it did with the yarn. But that's just my hypothesis. I'd need to test that to be sure. As a reminder, there are kits at both locations with some supplies, but as you can see, they were very simple, basic supplies. So if we run out, just say, Miss Nicole, I really need some supplies for home, and I've got supplies for you at the library, so it'll take me just a few minutes to put something together for you. So if we run out and you're desperate for one of these kits, just ask, and I'm happy to help put something together. So until next time, everybody, have fun with your science. Bye for now.